All right, let's start this party. Let's start it right now. How is everyone doing tonight? It's 121 of us here, ready to chat, ready to talk about batteries, Tesla, Elon Musk in trouble again, and PCBs. PCB, power DIY power walls. Yeah, we're ready to do this. Who's, first of all, who's here? Orlando, Florida, in the house. Cesario Studios, welcome. We got people from India, Vancouver, USA, GA. What's that? I don't know what GA. Georgia, I think that's Georgia. Vancouver, Olympia, USA. I just followed 318-650 to stay away. The start screen. Hello from New York City, Ruben Dominguez, New York City. I gotta visit you guys pretty soon. I love New York City. It's one of my favorite places on earth. Let's see. Batteries. Yes, Canada's in the house. PCBs, Alabama. Did Elon chief again? Yes, apparently he's in trouble with the Securities Commission or something. I don't know. They're trying to get him in trouble. I don't know. I'm not offended. Oh, I'm sure I've offended someone today already. I'm alive, so that's enough. Mexicali's in the house. Look at that. In San Antonio, Texas, Iowa, Southfield, Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, Vietnam, New York, yes, Thailand, look at that, Australia, Colorado, it's South Africa, it's tonight, we are, as almost every week, and every Monday night, we are a, worldwide audience that are, look at that, Puerto Vallarta, Nayarit, and Anthony, I've been to Puerto Vallarta, it's a pretty nice place. I want to go back again. Inland Empire, California. That's my neighbor right there. Sydney, Australia. Tennessee. South Carolina. Look at that. Fresno, Texas, Sweden. We're an international audience here, or a group. And we're going to be talking about batteries. What have you guys been up to? There's been quite a bit happening with me. I just haven't been making videos because I'm so busy doing stuff. I visited EV West last week. Yeah, today's Monday, last week, right? And there was a lot of cool stuff to see. And there was a lot of cool stuff. Where I shot some stuff. We're going to announce that those batteries are going to come up on sale. I just didn't get what I needed from them today. I was trying to make it happen today. But I am actually ready on my side. And so that's why I thought, well, I'll make that the theme of the live chat. See, so as you guys know, a few months ago, I started. Yeah, okay. So let's go back. Just for those of you who don't know, a little bit of backstory. About a year ago, I started working on these little PCBs. It was just a way for us to make batteries, right? Because we're talking about all these batteries. For a few years now, we're talking about 18650s and how you can take them out of laptop batteries and there's all this stuff, right? Now we found better sources than that, and with modems and the car batteries and all this stuff. But still, there's no easy way to make all those cells into battery packs, right? And of course, we've explored different things, sort of like this one here. That was one of the first things that I did, where I put a bunch of these cells. So this I was testing, the Tesla style fuses, right? Because once we started getting our hands on the Tesla batteries, then we decided oh my God, they put fuses in every single one of the cells, and so that's what we started doing. So of course, no one's really coming up with any good ways, People are still kind of building like this. They're twisting wire and they're soldering stuff. And, it requires quite a bit of, requires some skill, right? That I think that a lot of us, or a lot of you guys have. A lot of you guys are super talented and create very, very cool looking power walls and battery packs and stuff. But some of you are like, whoa, it's crazy. Like, it's kind of dangerous. I don't know. It just looks dangerous or whatever. Uh, and so, because of that, I decided that there must be a better way. There must be something where we can kind of standardize something, somewhere we can, like, figure out. And so, what I came up was this sort of, like, little kit, right? Like, I realized that people that are doing, like, they were designing PCBs and they're doing testers or chargers and stuff, right? And they were using these little, holders. I've seen these online and I bought some and, we've been playing with them and stuff. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could just make a way where you can just snap the batteries like that and, make a thing? Anyways, I did. So I embarked in this process. I don't know how to make PCBs, but, with the community, the help of the community and a lot of you guys out there, we design our very own PCB. And there's no electronics in here. It's basically just wiring. It's just a way to, kind of standardize the wiring of a battery pack. And so this is a 7S, 7 Celsius series, which makes perfect 24 volts. That works with all the legacy 24 volt stuff. And we're now 3 versions into it, right? They're mostly the same. We're just kind of we're changing little connectors here and just trying to make it better, changing the fuses, changing a few little things in here, but like the design is still basically the same thing. It's just a 7S PCB with a little connector for the with the thing. And so a few months ago, I kind of, even though they're still kind of in beta, I'm still testing stuff. I started selling some of them, and you guys started buying them. There's about 10,000 of those out there. There's about enough to make a good size, about 120, like 5 kilowatt or more an hour, 5 kilowatt hour battery packs out there. A lot of you guys bought like just a little kit with 7 boards and stuff, and those are good for just to get your hands dirty, just to kind of see how the system works, if you're gonna like it or not, if you see yourself building a thing, and so I think a lot of you guys are kind of waiting to now buy more and stuff. And this is an open source thing, so it's been available. I created the Gerber files, so you can download the stuff and order the files yourself from the PCB houses, and then links to where I source all the fuses, the holders, the other little fuses, all this stuff, right? So there's links for all that stuff in there. You guys are just buying it, but I had a partner. We sold a bunch of them. I didn't get any of the money. That guy ran away with all the money and all the things. I think by now everyone, we either sent you the stuff that you order, or I refunded you and stuff like that, right? So now that it's all taken care of, I think there might still be 1 or 2 people out there that just somehow after a few months they haven't realized that they haven't gotten their thing. Let me just turn this off or turn it down. It's kind of hot in here. So now that all that's done, and then also with the batteries, we made a bunch of mistakes, right? Because it was kind of like the same thing, campaign of selling stuff. Now I'm putting them back for sale. So now that's what this thing. If you follow the link on the bottom here, you'll be able to order them. And I kind of changed the structure because that wasn't my thing. Yeah, it was in a website called jehusgroupbuy.com. But it wasn't my website. If someone else set it up for me and they said, hey, you want to sell through here? We already set up the website. And I thought, oh, okay, well, if it's all set up, but of course, they weren't doing such a good job. And so I decided to separate myself from them. And, here we are again, a few months later. And, I'm launching this thing again, where I'm going to start taking orders again. But this time it's all in-house. I have total control of what's going on here, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because then, ultimately I'm responsible for whatever I sell to you guys, right? So, if someone else screws up, I screwed up. But at the very least now, if I screwed up, then I screw up and I should pay for it. No one else, it's no one else's fault, or I'm not depending on someone else. That's the good part. The bad part is that, well, maybe you guys are not going to see me for a little while, because then I'll be like, trying to ship stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm trying to get, you know, I've gotten some help to help me fulfill all this stuff, and I will see how that goes. You know, but at the very least, you know, it's people I can trust and stuff like that. And so that's what's happening here with these things. Also, the other part why I haven't gone full, like, you know, full on, like, haven't released this thing is because I was worried that I'm selling you part of the thing, right? It's just the PCBs that are made to put the batteries together. And that's cool. There's a lot of you talented people out there that will put batteries together and will put, like, you know, there are some great examples of that in our Facebook group. But the thing that worries me is that a lot of you guys that, like, not necessarily, you know, are 100% sure of what you guys are doing, you can get in trouble. I mean, you know, I had someone already tell me that they built some of these things, and they started, and they caught fire. I think he had 4 of these modules that caught fire. Some of them were like a few, and some were like as little as... He said that there's as little as 1, but I don't know if I can believe him. And anyways, they took anything between, you know, an hour to 4 hours. So basically, after 4 hours of him, like, assembling these things, he left them there, and then all of a sudden, you know, fire. And so, you know, I was kind of asking him, like, a million questions, and it turns out that it might seem like maybe the boards were bad, like they had a short or something. Well, since then, he sent me boards from that same batch, right? And then he sent me some of the ones that he had put together, and here they are. And I went through these, and I electrically checked, and they seem fine. I don't see anything, you know. I see, like, he did a good job putting them together. The only thing that kind of worries me is, like, the fact that I think he used too much, what's the thing that you put so that the thing flows? He seemed to have put a little bit too much flux. Like, you can see it in there, right? It's kind of thick. It kind of covers onto, like, you know, the next pad and stuff. And I think that's kind of a corrosive. I think you got to clean it up. I use flux core solder, so then I don't get any extra flux on my boards when I'm doing them. And I'm going to, when the video finally comes out and I finally releases this, I am going to suggest that you guys use the solid or the flux core solder so that this doesn't happen, because I think you got to clean this. You can't just leave it like that. I don't know. This is not conductive. I'm sure the you know, the short wasn't related to that. I think what happened is that it's so easy to put batteries backwards when you're doing them. If you're not, like, following the same step over, like if you're doing, you know, all the boards soldered the same part, and then, you know, all the boards soldered the next part, and, you know, load up the cells on all the boards at the same time. It's easy for you to just, you know, lose concentration and then just put a cell backwards. When it's one board like this and you have one cell backwards, it's no big deal, right? Because there's not connected to anything. But as soon as you put 2 of these boards together with the little, you know, with the standoffs that are electrically connected, then all of a sudden you have 6 cells connected to 7 cells, you know, facing one way but one backwards. So now there's a differential voltage. And it's, yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to see it right away, right? I think it'll take a little while for that one cell that's backwards to start heating up. And yeah, like in his case, I think he said one was like 4 hours later, and it just burst into flames. And so I think that's most likely what happened, because I'm checking all these boards. They seem fine. They do seem a little bit less quality than the JLC PCB. These are PCB Way. That's another one of the houses that we use. And yeah, these are a little bit rougher. They're not as clean. But electrically, they're fine. I tested them. I'm probably going to put some batteries on here and test it, you know. Put a battery and just check it and see if I can make it catch fire. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to catch fire. You know, the meter doesn't lie. At least I don't think so, you know. So anyways, because sort of that stuff was happening, then I'm really waiting to get this one done. And it's finally done. I had this one now for a couple of weeks. Also been, it's available on the kit.com website. And you guys have been ordering it, and I've been shipping it out almost every day. You guys are ordering quite a bit of these. And so now I feel a little bit more comfortable now finally releasing the PCB like as a whole thing, right? Where I can show you from step one to, to battery, to full battery thing. Because now I'll be able to say like, yeah, and you got to use the BMS thing, right? Because at least this is going to step in and, take care of you, at least it increases the chances that it's something's gonna protect you from a mistake, from a cell backwards or something like that. So that's what's happening here. The other thing that I want to do is the battery meter, right? I've been kind of thinking about like, do I want to just go ahead and release this thing, or do I want to finish coming up with a battery meter? Because the problem with this BMS is that you don't know what they're doing. It's just they're just they're doing their job there, or are they? I don't know. We don't know because they're silent. They don't show anything. And I'm kind of picking a BMS that is available everywhere in the world, that is mass produced by several factories in China. And the reason I did that is because you guys are crazy. There's a lot of you guys ordering this stuff, right? Just think about this, right? Like whatever part I choose, I gotta make sure there's 10,000 of them available, because you guys have ordered that many in the span of a few months, even though I haven't really gone all crazy and released it out there. Now imagine if I put full instructions and kind of make everyone feel like they can tackle this thing. Who knows? It might be like 50,000 of you guys that are gonna decide to like build this thing, right? So it becomes a thing. If I choose a product that only a few of you are going to be able to get, and then not all of them. And we're kind of seeing that, right? Like we sold out of that BMS unit on like everything that Amazon had, and I think some like eBay sellers, they're like out of stock, right? Because a bunch of you guys ordered them and stuff. And so hopefully it's going to take a little bit of a while, but they're going to like order more and stuff, and it's going to be in stock for when we finally, you can't just kind of drop this thing and expect no hiccups, at least, right? So that's the other thing that I have to worry about. And I know like this week I got another BMS that I'm supposed to review this and kind of check it out. This one seems like it's about a $200 BMS, and I think it'll do up to 150 amps, or that's peak. So it'll handle like, I don't know, 70 amps or 60 amps, something like that. And it's got a USB thing, so you'll be able to like hook it up, and it's got a thing, and it'll do 5 cells to 16 cells. And so yeah, this one seems like it's a little bit higher, higher quality thing. And so if I like it, if these guys have it in stock, if they can supply enough of these, maybe, we'll make another board or something that will include it there, right? Because this board is designed for the other one, but, we'll see if we can use the same board, or, yeah, maybe, like, what we need to do is, like, modify this one so it's also backwards compatible with this one or the other one, right? So we have a board that's compatible with 2 units and stuff, because this one might be a good solution for that. I don't know. I haven't tested it. So once we do that, then we'll get to see. Also, guys, let me show you. Oh, by the way, sorry I haven't been reading your things. What the hell is going on here? Makers. What's going on with the Makers guy? What are they saying about blocking him or whatever? Flux. Everybody was saying flux because I couldn't think of the word. Yeah. Yeah, get good solder. That will that makes a big difference. And it's a thing that you never think about, right? You never think about it, but you do have to do it. You have to do that stuff. It will make a good deal. Makers gaming. Let's see. Let me see what's deleted. I live in India, and then oh my God. Okay, so yeah. So Makers is going crazy with the thing. All right. Flux's solder lube. Who is in Pro Lube? No, it's a good thing. It's just you need to clean it because I've heard that it's corrosive, that it will keep eating away at your contacts and stuff. So you got to clean it up. Um, Now I'm on the right account. Let's see. He was posting the same. I see. That was happening here. Save me with your BMS, Jay. Says John Bilal. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. That I can't make this widely available because we gotta try and keep it safe. We gotta do it because once it's out there, right? So right now it's just you guys that are the hardcore. It's just you guys that watch these live streams. You guys that go into my group. I mean, there's quite a bit of you, but it's not like I made a video and it got 1 million views. Then that's serious there because then there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that will say, hey, I can build that battery. Let's get this kit, and put it together. And the next thing they know, they're like, oh my God, what's a BMS? What do you mean I'm supposed to, balance my cells? That's my fear. Let's see here. I'm afraid to build this, says John Smith. You should be afraid. Batteries can be dangerous. Actually, you shouldn't be afraid. You should just be respectful about batteries. You should just have common sense. Wait, no, wait. How can I say this? Yeah, you should know. You should know about batteries, basic batteries. And I guess I'm kind of guilty here because I don't really have. I should have like a whole series of like basic knowledge, basic batteries. You know what I mean? Like, and I have it. It's there. I've talked about all this stuff multiple times, 100 times. It's just I don't have it arranged in an easy to consume, playlist or something like that, right? And of course, I can beat myself up for not doing that, or I can just say like, dude, I'm just one dude. Like, I'm literally just one dude. Like, I've been designing this thing, and at the same time, I'm not just designing this thing. I'm designing it. I'm productizing it. I'm coming up with the marketing material. I'm coming up with, fulfillment stuff, and so it's like I'm doing something that like whole teams of people. It takes a whole team of people to do, and so to do it by myself, of course, it's going to take a long time, right? And so it's not like the only priority. It's not at the top of my priorities. I didn't even set out to do this. It just happened, right? So yeah, it's taking a while, and so yeah, I don't have everything set up. So that's why I'm taking my time with this video where I release this. I want to do it right, and it's gonna take a while, and I think it's worthwhile waiting because because it's gonna help a lot of people, but it could also hurt a lot of people if it's not done right. So yeah, I'm gonna take my time, and so that's the reason. Dude, I've been meaning to say this to you for a while, but you're way ahead of your time. If you nurture this channel, you'll have a YouTube EV television show in years to come. Well, we kind of have a TV show already. Oh, so I mean, whatever. You can look at it in many different ways. But look, there's 260 of you guys watching right now, and it's just me blabbing about stuff. I mean, and I had zero preparation on my part, right? I've been like, I was playing around. Like, I just got this, and I've been so happy that I got these because I didn't think I was going to have them in time. These are the little fuse holders, right? It's just a little bag of little plastic stuff, but if you don't have this, well, there's like hundreds of you that I can't ship your stuff, right? And so this is very, very important. It took like a month for these things to come, and that's the reason why I'm, taking the time out to kind of, put the skits together, because you guys could just go and buy them. But who wants to wait that long, right? And, and then if you get the wrong one, imagine if you order some parts and you're like, oh, these are the wrong ones. And you're like, ah. So at least this will eliminate a little bit of that. And, and I can make a few bucks too because I've spent so much time on it and stuff. But yeah, that's not the only thing that I'm doing. So let's see. Thoughts on Keystone Electronics 54 battery clip DigiKey 36. Oh, do I know that one? The DigiKey 3654ND. Let's Let's search that. Let's see what he's talking about. DigiKey, right? DigiKey. So by the way, for those of you guys who don't know, DigiKey is a great source of electronics, and he just posted the number. Oh, those are terrible. I have those. I've used them. Terrible. I mean, not terrible. They're just problematic. They are kind of scary because they are really exposed, and when you put them right next to each other on a PCB, sort of like what we're doing here. In fact, I have a PCB. I took it out of this room because it's too much mess in here, so I put it over there. Those contacts are really close to each other, and they're like, and they're opposite ends of the cell. So like when you're putting them in and remove it, so in order to like not have those contacts so close, you'd have to separate them. And if you separate them, then there's a lot of space wasted. So because you want to make these batteries compact, then you end up putting them really close, which then becomes really dangerous. And so those are just really, unless you're just doing like, those are great for like devices that have one cell, right? And you can kind of put like one cell, and so you can separate all the other components and stuff, and you can use it to attach it there. Great. They're great for that. They're easy, they're simple. But we're going to do like a multi-cell, like hundreds of these, and like these PCB boards and stuff. Yeah, it gets a little sketchy. I like to live on the edge, but that's a little bit too far for my taste. And I know there's other people that design stuff for those, but those are not that good. Don't use them. Don't do it. All right, here we go. Lee Holt, welcome to the channel. Thank you for being a member of the channel. Let's see here. Puerto Rico shirt. I thought you were Mexican. I am Mexican, but we did a whole campaign where we went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is my home away from home. So yeah, I like those guys. Those are good. Be sure to test the video on several people that do not know a lot. That's very important. Yeah, JJM. Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. Yeah, I should. So that's, yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, I thought, like, I'm going to have, so let me show you guys this, right? This is what I've been working on this week. I'm going to try this for the first time. I never know if this is going to work. All right, hopefully you guys can see me, but that right there, or you can hear me, that is a power wall that I installed over there at EV West. And, of course, you guys seen this before. I've had it in the wall here for a long time, but this is the first time that I'm like, okay, this is like, now it's got BMS system. I'm going to run all the wiring. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to like actually figure out how to like screw all these boards on there. So they're like, so they're secure into the wall and stuff. And that's what I was working on in a week that last week. And so, wait, what was I talking about that? Yeah. So that's what's on the, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so basically what I wanted to do, I remember. What I was trying to do is like get that kit, right? That's the 75 board kit that I have in the link in the kit.com, right? Because you're like, why 10 is just, the basic, just to kind of see if you like it, or just to play with it or whatever. The 25 is like, oh, you could actually get like a sizable pack with that. You can get like a 1.5 to 2 kilowatt, depending on what cells you use, battery pack with that. So the 75 one is now this. That's exactly how many of those boards you would need to put on that box. And by the way, I have that box, linked there too. You can totally do that. The only thing is this. Oh, so that kit that I have on there, now I'm going to include the 4 of the BMS boards, and then those little pigtails, so that, you can put those things in there. And so I'm thinking that I wanted to send it to like a YouTuber, someone else, that doesn't know anything. And they're like, okay, here, I'm going to send you this kit. You put it together. You do the thing. Let's see how it does. You know what I mean? Like, just following like my instructions. And by the way, for this one, I'm thinking that I will do like an instructable, where I write the whole thing and with pictures and stuff, and so that more people can benefit. People that might not even know who I am, that they're just want to get into the battery design. Of course, remember, I've been saying this for a long time. This battery system's not really for you guys. You guys are advanced. You guys are hardcore. You guys are like guys that are at the edge, with me. This battery is really for the people that don't even know they need a battery right now. It's the people that, like, in a year from now, they're gonna be like, you know what? The battery. Everybody's talking about batteries. Everybody needs a battery. Let's get a Tesla Power. Oh, you can't buy one. It's like a 15-month waiting list, or waiting time. So what else is there? Oh, look, I found a DIY one here. Oh, I think it has instructions. I can do this. So that's what this thing is for. This is the vast majority of who are going to be building this thing is going to be them. How do I transition back? Let me see. Starting soon, main. There we go. So that worked. Did you guys saw those pictures, right? I wasn't just talking to the black thing. Ruben Dominguez, thank you for the $4.99 for the super chat there. Welcome, Randy, new member. We have a new member. By the way, guys, thank you to all the members, all the guys that have those weird like JJM. He's got like little symbol next to their names. Come on. All right, so my thing just crashed. I think I'm still live, right? But my Safari crashed because I have a bug. I think I got like some kind of like all right, am I? Wait, so this reloaded again? Let's see. Okay, am I back? Am I live? Or no? The complete other side of town. Oh, I'm back. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay, so actually, I thought it was just my browser that when... Okay, so I thought it was just my browser that went down, but it wasn't. It was the entire OBS. Wow, that's interesting. So that virus took that thing down too. I didn't know. I would think that I would still be live. Okay, all this time I was talking to myself. I thought you guys were still there. I kept seeing all the comments, so I'm like, okay, I'm live. Well. Yeah, that's what happens, man. You get these crappy computers. Before, remember there was a time when Macs didn't have viruses, but now this thing has a virus. It's just trying me to like log in my password every once in a while, and I don't know why it's doing that. But I don't know, every few days it just shuts me out. It just cuts out, and and I'm still using. I don't even know why I'm still using Safari. The Safari sucks. It's really the most terrible browser. But for some reason I have trouble. I think all my links are there. I don't know. I'm used to it. I think that's what it is, and that's the problem. Okay, analytics. Let's see who's here. Oh yeah, look at that. Man, 287, it just died. All right, well, we're back, though. We're back now. Island Times says he uses Linux. Thank you, Island Times, for, moderating our thing here. Let's see, separate the thing here. Pop-up chat. There we go. All right. So we're back now. Oh, I already have one of these pop chats. Okay, is this one working here? All right, what is everyone saying here? If you need tech help or a website for these products, I can definitely help you. Joe H. Yeah. So I used to have a... so that other website was actually a... man, what's that shopping cart? Shopify cart, and that was pretty good. I'm impressed. But I didn't really set it up, so I don't know how hard or how tedious it is to set it up. But I was like, man, that's cool. I've been finding ways around like not setting up websites, like sort of that kit.com, right? Those go straight to my like PayPal and stuff, and that's one way to keep it simple and stuff. And I can do it. Like I literally did it like 5 minutes before going on live here, and so that's a cool way to do stuff. I also can build landing pages on my. I have a service to send emails and stuff, and so I've used those before too, but those take a little bit more time and stuff. But of course, they're not as great as a proper like shopping cart that can take analytics and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of I found ways to kind of hacks to go around that. Check Craigslist for used computers. Macs aren't inherently safe. They are safe by proxy because virus coding for PC will infect far more systems. Yeah, so they're not as popular. That's the only reason why there's not as many viruses. But now that Macs are popular enough, now there's viruses for them, and I got one, and I don't know how to take it off, other than just cleaning it out the whole system, which I guess I could do, but I'm just lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm just always busy. I'm on my computer like all day, every day, and so to take like that's why I never took it to fix my keyboards. Like, oh, you bring it, then come back in a few days. You're like, what? What am I supposed to do for a couple days? It's my only computer. Wait, kit link doesn't work? What do you mean the kit link doesn't work? Can you guys check? I want to say it does work because I'm already seeing people. Yeah, look at that. There's already people. Yeah, people are clicking on it. I can see the notifications. So I wonder if it's just you. Look at that. Let me see. Is this the right? Yeah. Yeah, it might just be you. Check your stuff. Click on it again or whatever. I don't know. All right, let's see. Mac products are horrible these days. They are in some way, shape, or another. Just how bad you must check out Louis Rossman Apple Tech. Although that dude he's a little melodramatic. And he seems to have a thing against Apple. So, you got to take everything he says with a grain of salt because of his position. It's not like he's, I mean, he has reason why he's so angry at Apple or whatever, right? But I always see like, yeah, his bias is quite big. And no, it's true. I mean, all he says is true. Like that whole thing where you put a thing, you connect something on the USB thing, and it just it completely kills your Wi-Fi radio. That was a real thing. I suffered that, except that for some reason I was able to like bypass it. Like now it doesn't do it anymore, right? So it was a bug that maybe got fixed or something, but I can't recreate it anymore. And he was totally just going off on that, like that's ridiculous. And it is ridiculous. It shouldn't happen, but bugs happen, right? It just happens. Rain Fox Wolfstone, thank you for the $20. Can you raise capital doing paid consult for these? How many panels would you recommend for a December 2021 day where you are located? For December 21st day, where you're looking at off-grid use, living in a shipping container, thanks in advance. So, man, that's going to be hard for me to answer because I don't have, like, standard panels. I have, like, these weird foldable panels that don't facing the wrong way. So, yeah, I don't know, like, I don't know how much you would take. Like, you're right. So, like, I could say, like, well, if you put 10 kilowatt of solar, I don't know how much of that turns out at the end of the day in California, right? Or in LA, somewhere around LA area. Where are you located? For December 1st, where you're located. So yeah, I'm in California, so where I'm located, right? Like, so my system doesn't produce that much, but I don't need it to produce that much. I'm just using it to basically cut off all my base load from on sun hours from noon to 6 p.m. because that's when my energy is the most expensive, and it's doing great. That little system is gonna pay off in 2.5 years, something like that, right? But for completely off grid, yeah, I don't know if I wouldn't have very good specifics, you know. Yeah, I know a couple other YouTubers that are full-time off grid, and so they would probably have a better look into that, like more specific. But by the way, I do one-on-one consultation thing at that FanTime website. I haven't done any this week. Oh, wait a minute. I did schedule a slot for today, but no one got it, right? And of course I kind of secretly put it on there like during the weekend or whatever, and I just didn't tweet it out or anything. So no one really knew to look for it, right? But every once in a while I go look. I won't be able to do it tomorrow because I'm busy, or I might be busy. I don't know. I didn't confirm. So maybe I will do one tomorrow if I'm not if I don't confirm before I go to bed tonight. But then Wednesday I'm busy, so I won't be able to do it. And then Thursday I think I'm busy. And then Friday. So Friday is the next time that I might be able to get it. So yeah, fantime.com. I usually put links or time slots out there for people that ask me. And people ask me all the time. They sign up now. So Joey H says, not Shopify is easy. I know you want simple. You need something that works. If they're taking any percentages for you, might be willing to help. Just let me know. Okay. Security through obscurity. As Mac gets more market share, it's more worthwhile to target Macs. Yep, that's what it is. That's what's happening. It's like, is the board finished? So the boards are finished, and I think they're gonna. Okay, so here's a couple things. I saw one comment in there where it says like, I wonder if he fixed the heating issue or problem, right? And I'm like, what problem? There's no problem. So when I did some tests and I pushed this to the limits, I made a video, and I wanted to see where the melting point was at on these, and it's actually not very far. It's like 5 amps. They start getting really hot, so that means these contacts are not that great, right? The material, whatever they use here, is not that conductive. It's got a lot of resistance or whatever. So then I thought, well, I want to run these Macs at 4 amps. And so that's why I choose to put a 4 amp fuse, which, by the way, I just changed to 5 amps in these latest batches that I did, because it's just those fuses, they go really quickly. And so I need a little bit more room. Like if you have a small battery pack and then you connect a big capacitive load, there's a chance that you might just blow all the little fuses. I've done it, once already, and it's a big pain because now you have this pack disassemble ready to go, and then you're like, all the fuses are gone. I gotta go and disassemble it, right, and take it off. So that means, well, you gotta pay more attention to have, like inrush something when you're gonna connect a big, inverter or something. So you can preload or you can pre-charge those capacitors, or I can also just put a slightly bigger fuse in there and try to minimize that, right? Of course, it's all having to do with the specific setup that you're trying to do, but I decided to go a little bit higher, put a 5 amp fuse in there, and see if that's gonna eliminate most of those scenarios where those would go. But anyways, the heating thing, that was just to find out where the heating it was, but it's not really a problem, because that at that level, at 4 amps, your cell is done at, you're discharging your battery pack in 1 hour, so, or more than 1 hour, because there's no 4 amp hour cell, right? So this is totally great for power walls. It's for power walls are usually 1C. You want to get your one capacity, right, of the cell, and you want to discharge that in several hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours, or whatever. So yeah, this is, worst case scenario is you want to discharge your battery in 1 hour, and this will be able to handle it. So this fits the bill, fits the criteria for this design for making power walls. That's why these are not great for making smaller packs. I mean, even though we did test these guys, and these will do twice that. So if you're gonna make a small power pack, not a big, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 kilowatt, then yeah, you might want to use these holders, which are the surface mount ones. These have copper or bronze or brass, or anyways, they're more conductive, the contacts, and they can handle more without melting. The plastic's also thicker, and they can handle more. It's got it looks like it's a different type of plastic. It seems like it's got like resin in there, and so it'll handle a bit more heat. And so this is the way to go if you're gonna do something that you need at least 2C. This is totally okay at 1C discharge loads, and that's why it's great for power walls and stuff. So anyways, that's the thing that I kind of saw someone talking about here in the comments. So check camera focus. Yeah, my camera takes a little while to focus. How much fun are you having with Maxwell capacitors? I don't know. I just got them today, so I haven't done anything to them. They're just sitting there. They're used, which is kind of weird. It didn't seem like they were used on the listing that I bought them from, and I don't think it said that they were used. So I was like, oh, and they're kind of beat up, and I'm like, hey, I didn't know I was buying some, and I paid. I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of money, but I paid like $300, $400 or something. That's expensive for some. I mean, obviously it doesn't matter because, right, capacitors last forever, unless, I mean, you probably could damage them. Under normal cycles, I think they last forever, but I don't know. We'll see. I was surprised they came like all wrapped like in tape, and it didn't seem like it was a cool thing, right? But there they are. They have these little circuits on them. I don't know what they do. I'll have to like do more research on it before I start, putting some power on there. And then they're kind of scary, because if they can totally give you all their power at once, then yeah, imagine that. So yeah, I'm hoping to do some cool videos with that. Maybe we can what can we do that? We can melt stuff. Will they melt stuff like batteries, or will they just like explode whatever you short it out with? I don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. I use Renogy 100 watt monocrystalline panels. Yeah, there's been a few people that have been doing videos comparing those panels right there. Make the setup so the fuses are easily replaceable. Like in a car, you just pull the blown fuse out and put a new one, and that way you don't have to disassemble the whole thing. Yeah, that is one way to do it. Can we do it? Can we do it on these PCBs? Let's see. I mean, yeah, the fuse is right here in the front. And then we have about almost an inch between. We could use these little mini fuses, right? These guys with these little holders. But they won't be able to remove them easily, right? Unless we have a holder that it goes like on a 90. If I can find a 90 holder for these, then we are, we're in business. But if we don't, yeah, that's been the problem. That's the challenge there, to find a mini fuse holder that's 90. If you guys find one, let me know. Send me the link so that I can check it out, order it, and then check it out. Those SMD holders may be high temp nylon. The Keystone brand is, yeah, nylon instead of just that other plastic that melts. Yeah. If I were to build a 7S 10P pack using your latest PCB kit and reclaim used batteries from laptops, how much difference in tested and measured discharge capacity when the same 7S board is tolerable? I'm not sure I understand your question. How much difference in tested and measured discharge capacity within the same 7S board is tolerable? How much difference between tested and measured? Well, isn't that the same thing? Like, you have to measure to test it? I don't understand your question. You'd have to ask it better, I think. Don't they degrade much? Or between the 10P boards? Wait, so between boards, the capacity could be different. They don't have to match. You can have a bunch of like 1,000 watt, 1,000 milliamp cells in a board, and then 3,000 milliamps on the other board, and they're all, close to each other in capacity, all 7 cells. You have to make sure those cells are close, right? But then you can put those 2 boards together, bam, and they'll work just fine. Maybe the bigger battery, the one that has more capacity, will be able to push more power than the one that has less capacity. But that's okay, you know what I mean? Like, when they don't have to all push like simultaneously the same amount of power. Eventually, if your energy is gonna fluctuate, your energy load, these will only not be able, like the weak cells will not be able to put out their share of the energy on whatever's like higher, right? If you go above that threshold, if they can't push more than an amp, let's say, right? So if you load up your battery more than 1 amp per board, then that one is not going to be able to provide that 1 amp, right? And maybe the other ones are going to have to step in and provide more of that power, and they'll do that. That's how, the electrons will flow, the path of less resistance. So that's how it works. But you don't have to match between boards. That's the beauty about building packs this way. It's that all you have to make sure is that you have similar, at least 7 cells similar, right? And similar capacity and hopefully similar internal resistance that can push the power around the same rate. And then you can load them up in one board and you can add it to your pack. And it doesn't matter if those match the rest of the pack. You don't have to. You just have to. This is a battery on its own. Each board is one battery, and you're just paralleling to the other batteries, all the other boards, right? And you can do 10, or you can do 100 or 1,500, and you can do, groups of 10, and then put it, connect them in series with another group of 10 boards. Then if you're doing that, you'll have to make sure that the 10 boards will equal or average out about the same capacity as the another group of 10 boards that you're doing. It will, because now you're connecting those in series. But only the ones in series you have to worry about having them be matched sets of cells, where similar specs, right? But between boards, it's you don't need to. And that's one of the beauties of doing that. And one of the other things is, like, you can grow your battery by 7 cells, right? You have 24 volt battery, you have 24 volt battery or a 48 volt battery. Well, the 24, you can grow your battery by, groups of 7 cells. On the 48, groups of 14. So that's a really cool. Let's see. Let's read some of your things. Spade connectors work. Let's see. Resettable fuses. That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing that I should look into. If you have some suggestions for resettable fuses, send me the links. Post them in post them in this. Yeah, post them here in the live. Well, I don't know if a lot of you guys can't post links here, but you can post them in the group, or maybe in this video once it posts. You could totally go and post links, and even if they go on the oh man, I don't check comments that much anymore. There's so much comments these days, and I just don't have time. But I'll make an effort. I'll make a note of it to come and check this live stream's comments, so that if you post a comment there, and even if it marks it as a spam, I can go and look at it and still find it. Why not use an electronic fuse? I don't know. Why not? Why aren't we using one? Is my question too. You know, I'm using high temp fuse cartridge holder with 8 amp fuse cartridge from DigiKey. I'll send you the info. All right. Can we use your PCB boards to charge and use supercaps, or that's a bad idea? Well, as long as you stay within the 1C load, the boards, you'll be able to, right? But I want to say that if you're going to try to use supercaps, it's not going to do that. Well, I mean, you have to make sure that you charge it first, and now once they're matching voltage, you can connect them in parallel, and then that will handle all the transients, right? So yeah, maybe it's doable. Maybe it's doable. Try it. If you blow up boards, you know, don't say it was my fault. I'm just saying, try it. That's the only one way to find out. That's the best way to find out. Strange critter behind me. Oh, which one? Oh, that guy? Oh, yeah, that guy. He's crazy. Richard Jesh just joined us. Welcome. Hook up the Lion Pan Pack capacitors. Oh my god, sorry, it just jumped in here. Yeah, so I kind of already read that. I want to build a lithium iron phosphate battery. There you go. My last video that I did was for this guy, which is a lithium iron phosphate. And they are still available. So, but I don't know for how long, right? It's like, there we go. I built this battery. It's kind of big. Someone was saying like, you could put a lead acid battery in here and get more battery. And it's true. But I only loaded up this with 10 boards. You could totally put more boards in here. Oops. Okay, I disconnected it. So yeah, this still has a lot of room inside. So you could put up to 20 boards in here, I estimate, and connect this. Oh man, I owe you guys several schematics for some of this stuff. And they're super easy, and you would think it would take me like no time to do it, but yeah, it's just been so busy. I've been so busy setting up my things, but I am gonna do it. I will do it. It's just it's just taking me a little while. So in other words, 2200 milliamp hours versus 2800 milliamp hour cells within the same capacity on the same board. No, that's not the same capacity. That you're talking about different capacity cells within the same board. No, all 7 cells in that one board have to be the same capacity, same milliamp hour rating, or not rating, tested capacity, right? You should test it. It doesn't matter what's on the. If you're using U cells, it doesn't matter what's on the label, right? You should test them using a little tester, and then now you know what size your battery is, and then you should match them. Put 7 of them. Put 7 in one board. Then those don't have to match the other 7 and any of the other boards. But within that one board, you do have to have. They have to be similar. Or on the different boards. How does the BMS handle balancing this difference on the same board versus different boards? Yeah, so the BMS will use. The BMS boards only see 7 groups of cells, right? So do I have? Yes, I have some. Yeah, here we go. Let me take this one off. Or leave it in. Leave it in. Okay, here we go. So here's a stack of boards. When you connect the ribbon cable there, it basically connects cell number 1 from this board to cell number 1 of this board and on this board. So all cell number 1s are connected via those little cables, right? The balance cables. So when you connect the BMS is only connected on these balance connectors, and they only see seven groups of cells, right? It sees, you know, if you have 10 boards, it sees 7 groups of 10 cells, and so it will make sure that they are at the same voltage, right? All 7 cells. And so, you know, it doesn't really matter how much capacity is in the cells. All it cares is how much, you know, what voltage they are. And because these are, you know, all cells in group 1 are connected to each other through that cable, then they all are matching, you know, they're all sharing the same voltage, right? So all it has to do is just, you know, either, well, I mean, those BMS boards, all they can do is burn a little bit of power. Once they've reached the top, once they reach 4.23 or 4.24, something like that. Hey, you're making a lot of noise, Bruce. So anyways, once it reaches that, all it does is like burns energy to let some of the other groups catch up and, you know, all be at the same. Man, this guy's making a lot of noise. So that's how that works. I hope that makes sense. I've seen SMD fuse holders. For the tiny fuses you sent with the board kits, I was going to try and paste a link, but DigiKey site seems to be down right now. So I actually have some of those, but they're a pain to install. I didn't find an easy way to install them, and I know that other people have had trouble installing them. They kind of melt. If you try to use an iron, it just melts the little plastic things, and it's just a big mess. I think those need to be set in an oven or at a convection thing, or however they do those, you know, the surface mount components. That's, you know, that's what and of course I'm trying to keep it so that anyone without having to buy any specialized equipment can build these, right? So and of course, you know, specialized equipment, it's, you know, the definition of that varies. They will need at the very least just like a soldering iron, which could be considered specialized because, you know, not everybody will solder stuff. But you can buy cheap, you know, $20, $10, $20 like soldering iron thing. So, you know, it's not super specialized if it costs that little. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. You guys are putting a lot of links in here. Oh, man. So it sets up another thing. Yeah, so those are the fuses that I'm using, but I need one that is 90 degrees because, well, because it won't be easy to remove, you know, when they're in between the cells. So look, I'll give you an idea. So here's a little fuse, right? This is a little fuse that we're using for the BMS board. All right. Okay, before it. So then here's the holder. Oh, here's the holder. And that's exactly those holders that you guys linked there. Come on, man. No, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it. There we go. Did it do it? There we go. Okay, so that's the thing. You gotta make sure you install it great. So if I were to put it in here, right, here's the stack. Look at that. So there's like very little room on the top of that to the top of the board there. And if I put it in here where's the fuse? Oh, the fuse is like right here. Then it's not really easy to take it out. So you would have to have it so that it's 90, so the fuse is sticking out. And then you can like take it out, push it in, and then take it out. Right? Yes, that's what it would be. So another way to prevent a failure like that is to actually have an external fuse that is much smaller than all these fuses combined, so that if you load up your battery pack with the load, it will burn that external fuse first before any of these little ones will go. But that would mean limiting your battery pack to whatever the external fuse would be. So that's another one way to make sure that you don't do that, right? It's like, oh, you've gone past the point or too close where your independent like board level fuses start going up. And I know that's how Tesla does it. I have Tesla modules, right? And they have cell level fuses that blow up around 20 amps. But then there are module level fuses that will blow at 150 amps, right? And I know those modules have 22 cells times 20. Yeah, so basically the cell level fuses can put out 440 amps, but the module is fused at 150 or 200. I don't remember. It's like 150 or 200. Let's say that it was even 200. It's like half of what the cell level fuses are rated at, right? So if you load up that module, with a bigger load than you're supposed to, then that big fuse is gonna blow up. But now you're independent, like So we could sort of do that and just run the thing, and you could do it on the bigger pack. Just think about it. If you have two of those, right? Okay, so that's one of those boxes, right? It's about half the size of a Powerwall. If you put two of them together, it is about roughly the size of a Powerwall 2 for Tesla. And not just in size, but also in capacity. You can put anywhere between 5 to, like, if you put the 3200 milliamp hour cells from EV West, then it's like 6.3 kilowatts or something. So you have two of those. Yeah, you're talking about 12. Yeah. All right, 12, 13 kilowatt hours. So once you're doing that, you might not have a load that is big enough in your house, right? So you could put a fuse outside of those boxes that together will equal somewhere around 10 kilowatt or something, right? And so it's enough to power all your loads at home, but is small enough that it will blow that fuse and not the internal board fuses, right? So that's how you design that system. It's possible. Let's see. Use a fuse puller like in a car. Okay, so the group of 7 with 22 million mg of capacity doesn't produce 22 mg of... Oh my god, what is that? I don't understand that. What's mg? Megawatt? Mega G's? Oh, that's the one that Death's Keeper posted. It's a 90-degree holder. Wait, what? Where is Death's Keeper? Death's Keeper. Post it again. So I can see it. I missed it. Bend the leads. Well, you can bend the leads. They're too small. Plus, think about this. Well, okay, so... Actually, it wouldn't be that bad, actually. Because you're only doing, like 4 boards. No, well, no. Yeah, you're doing 1 per board. That's going to be quite a bit of work. Think about that. It's not going to be easy. Yeah, the little leads are really small, so you definitely don't want to... Oh my god, this camera sucks. I need a new camera. Anyways, yeah, bending those on, they you'd have to get the ones, the right ones. Fuse holders fits the bill. Surface mount, right angle. Take glass barrel fuses. Oh, I see what you're saying. Huh. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Maybe that's the way to go. Okay, FluxCore says, this feels like a dumb question. The PCB kits say they include everything to make the cells. Does that mean the battery holders and the stand off spacers? Yeah. So you'll be able to make like a whole thing like this. Yeah, it has all the connectors and the holders and the standoffs. And the little connectors to make the ribbon and the ribbon cable also. So everything you need. I think it also includes one set of XT60 connectors, so that if you want to use them, there's all kinds of ways to connect these, right? But it includes all that stuff. Yeah, I need to have a better picture where I have everything, or like include all the stuff that are included. I'll do that with more time. Today I just kind of made those things right before I went live, and I said, okay, those are going to be available. Got to change to spot focus mode. There you go. Needle nose pliers. Yeah, needle nose pliers work. Oh, here we go. More links. Let's see. Let's look at these links. By the way, while we're looking at those links, for those of you who haven't seen this thing, that's where we're trying to build that, or we're gonna build that. Oh, the link. Where's the link? Okay, let's see here. Oh, look at that. Those are it. There it is. Oh, and those have 4 little legs. So there might be, the rating might be bigger. Because they have to be kind of on the, actually not for this one. For this one's we're only going to be doing somewhere around 4 or 5 amps. So, contact supplier. There we go. Okay, PCB mount horizontal fuse clip. You're right. And it's got a little movie in there. Although it doesn't show. And it uses the bigger fuses. Those might be useful actually for the BMS board also. All right, we'll save that. I'll save that link there. I'll explore it. We'll order some samples and start using them. The next variation might have that. So we can keeping the boards, so we can make them better. There's another link here. Let's see. That was that one. Let's see that one right there. CPC. Oh, look at that. Fuse holder PCB right angle blade. Ooh, but look at the price of that puppy there. God. Of course, we'll probably have to find that. We'll have to find it in China. But what kind of fuse is that? That's kind of weird. Yeah. Oh, that's for little fuse. Okay. I think. Yeah. Just think about that. We have to buy a bunch of those because every board has one, right? So, yeah, it has to be cheap. I was looking at it since the picture only shows the boards. I wasn't sure even though it says everything you need. Yeah, I was thinking about adding like the rest of the stuff in there, but I didn't have one picture that included everything in there. I do have a million pictures, but didn't have the time to look for all the stuff. I didn't understand my question. So all boards 2200 milliamps capacity, but individual boards are doing 1000, 1500. Other people even is still going to charge them. Yeah, I think so, right? I sent you the info for the SMD fuse holder and fuse. I'm using the fuse cartridge holder is rated at 260C for reflow solder. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. So the reflow is that little thing where you put it's almost like a yeah, it's air, right? Hot air, and it just melts the thing in there, and it lets the solder flow into the bottom of it. Just logged in. Any news on the Sony VTC6 sales? I haven't seen them on your group buy or Tom's Place. Did you start up again? So I was supposed to release the Panasonics today, but I didn't hear back from EV West. So I think they're still working on putting them up on their website, and I think we're gonna start with the NCR 18650 BDs, and then after like those sales kind of get going, because I know they're gonna be swamped, or they're afraid they're gonna be swamped. Then we're gonna release the Sony VCT6s, but they're coming. Hopefully. So this week, someday this week, right? And so yeah, they're coming. Just stay, a few more days, and you should be able. And the shipping is super low. I think, what did they say? 25. I think it's somewhere around $25 per case in the United States. Unfortunately, they're not doing international. I'll have to ask them why that is, because they maybe because of the rates too. They haven't been able to work the rates. So basically it'll be like, right now it would cost like $300 to ship some stupid little battery box, across the world. Well, we need to bring that down. And I think maybe now they're working on that. So, but they're coming. Sometime this week. Okay, so there's the thing here. The Amazon link does not work with your kits. So which one? Nua? There's a lot of them. Which Amazon kits? Oh, yeah. So the problem with Amazon is that a lot of stuff is sold out. Like, we've cleaned them out. Because you guys have been buying so many of them. Then they kind of sell out. That's the problem with having a lot of you guys just go. LEDs on each board for status for easy swapping. Yeah, that's another one that we have to do. We have to put a little thing for an LED. It only had the wall mount case when I clicked it. Oh, there's another one. Let's see. Nathan just put another link to Mouser. Is that... Oh, that's the same one. Okay. Is that the same one? Fuse holder, fuse socket, mini, horizontal. Man, but look at the prices though. 50 cents. 54 cents if we buy 1,000. 40 cents if we're buying 25,000. Holy, that's the problem. We're paying 4 cents right now for the fuses, right? And we're only having to buy, and we're not even buying 1,000. Well, I mean, yeah, I'd buy 1,000, 1,500, I think, at a time. So that's a huge price difference there that will add up. Imagine that. That's 50 cents. So just think about this. So that box right there has about 80, right? And so you do 80 times 54. Yeah, you're talking about $43 worth of just fuse holders. Yeah, that's not... No, we gotta look for something else. That's too expensive. What are the dimensions of your PCBs? Well, is it like 80? I only have a standard tape measure here, 6.5 inches by 3.5 inches. You probably want that in millimeters, but I don't have a millimeter thing here. Do I have one? No. So you can convert that. Convert it 6.5 by 3.5. That's the size of the things here. Do you ship to Canada? Yeah, I should be able to ship to Canada. My stuff, those boards, they don't have any restrictions. So yeah, I should be able. I've been shipping to all over the world actually. People are already starting to post where they're getting their little PCBs, in Europe and stuff, and it's pretty cool. Can we pick up an order from EV West? Yeah, I'm sure we can schedule it. They're there every day and they have staff. And yeah, there's people there picking up stuff all the time. They're for the mini blade fuses. On the border you're making the EV West, why not just knock out a hole right where the wires are coming out and drill a hole right where you don't have to use the knockouts? I'm not sure. The one underneath the main header. What? All right, let's see. On the VCT6s, what's the smallest amount you will sell? So they will sell only boxes of 200, right? We were splitting them up and doing boxes of 50, I think. But that was too much work. We had to take them out of the box and stuff, and we were doing that, right? Me and my other partner were doing it. It was a lot of work, but it paid off because I think a lot of you guys don't need like a whole 200, a case of 200. But EV West doesn't want to do that, so they're just gonna sell the cases. So you're gonna have to get a full case, unfortunately. On your paddle board, my iPhone's not translating correctly. Why did you not just drill a hole right where the wires can go straight out the top? Oh, I see. Out the top of that board. Of that box. Just because there's already a cutout thing there, and I just wanted to use it there because it's there. Yeah. It's like, why drill another hole if there's just a thing you can do? And so I'm going to buy all the fittings to do it. And I'm going to have several of those boxes there at EV West. So, they're going to go from one to the next one kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, I figure it's cutting another hole. It's just too much. It's just extra work, right? And why are you going to do it? Unless you have a real reason to not use the one that's on the side. I just, why? On the board, I have to open another window to EV West. So I don't know if they're there yet, right? He said he was going to send me a link. That was supposed to happen Friday, but he didn't. So now it's Monday, and I texted him today, and he didn't get back to me. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to be there yet. Maybe he's working on that today, or maybe he'll get to it tomorrow. I don't know. Although, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they're there already. If they are, send me a link. I did manage to secure my 1860 batteries from defective battery packs for free. Wow, look at that. They say they could get me 20 to 60 battery packs a week. What? So where's the defective part of the battery? Hopefully it's not the cells, and you can recoup a lot of good cells. Island Time says that it's 25.5 millimeters to an inch. There you go. 3.5 inches by, what did I say? Whatever. 6.5. 6.5 by 3.5. I had to put a I2C interface on every board on my power wall. I wonder what that is. Why did you have to do that? And busy? The only space inventor says, can you make a battery or a very average person friendly guide for a sealed lead acid 12 volt system under 200, please? No, I'm the wrong person to do that. I don't know anything about lead acid batteries. All I know is that I don't like them. Because there's better technology. So my very narrow expertise in batteries is lithium batteries, right? So yeah, I actually don't know much about lead acid. I know that we had them for a while, and I know that they're heavy, and I know that they have acid in them that is corrosive, and I know that after a while they get that green stuff in the post, which I hate. And every time I touch it, I would always touch my clothes, and they would always start ripping and stuff. I don't like the lead acids. I just remember bad stuff about them. I'm going to be in Monrovia in 3 weeks. Maybe I stop by EV West and see Michael. Richard Jesh. Yeah, stop by. They're always, yeah. So no, they're not on EV West yet. Okay. It comes to a panel, you don't have to use what they give you. That's his convenience. You can always put a NACA wherever you want. On any that can enlarge, you can make it bigger. Yeah. Yeah, except that's, I mean, I guess I could have made a smaller hole. But again, I was like, why am I going to drill a hole when there's one there? Just use the screwdriver to knock it out. And I just knocked it out. Ooh. Oh, here's a link to the right fuse holder. Okay, so yeah. Oh, this one is cheaper. 25 cents to 30 cents a piece. Quantity pieces. Yeah, man, those are expensive. Maybe we can talk about... Yeah, that's expensive. We'll have to look into something. We'll have to... Well, yeah, I don't think that's the answer. I think that's too expensive, and even if we bought a ton of them, still talking about a lot of money that goes in there. But we have to do the thing. Again, like I said, we could probably, depending on what battery you're making, we could always protect those fuses by putting a smaller fuse outside in the main pack, right? And so then that's how you can protect the thing. And if you're having to put loads that are going to have a lot of inrush, you know, then there are ways to mitigate that. There's pre-charged circuits, there's all that sort of stuff. But under normal use, they shouldn't be going, right? Like they should be good. You could do something custom, like just using the clips and then putting your own plastic cover on top. Yeah. Or what if we were to figure out how to solder these sideways? So look at these guys. I mean, you could totally bend these little legs, right? Because it's just a sheet and it's bent like this. So if you bend them back out, then those have a lot of surface area that you can just use and put a dot of solder in there, and then that's the way to do it. Maybe that's the way to do it, right? Or we can make a cut in the board where you can, those things could go in there, and then you just put solder and it bridges across, you know, and it makes a solid connection. I think that's the way to do it. I think so, guys. I think we figured it out. Right, so if you make a little cut on the board, sort of like this one here, but much smaller, and you do 4 cuts, so those can go in there. Right, and then you just put solder on there, and it just kind of engulfs the whole thing. Yeah, and then you do it like that so that it's only sticking out that way, and then you just have the board at the same level like that. So every board's got this little thing sticking out. Let's see, how about here? By the way, this is an old board. Do I have a newer one? Yes, here's a newer one. Yeah, look at that. And then it doesn't stick out past the that connector. And even if it did a little bit, then the next connector that comes up is right there. Because that box that I put those things, it's really close. I mean, there's tight. Not a lot of room for errors there, right? So, yeah, I'm going to have to talk to Justin and see if we can do that. There's not a lot of room here, though, to put this bigger, because this is actually bigger than the one that's in there, right? Definitely, yeah, we would have to lose something. And then if we do that, then basically there's not compatible anymore. How do we do this? There's got to be a way. We'll find a way. You guys gotta help me out to design this. Any ideas? Make sure you send me an email if you guys don't have good ideas. Did you cycle your polymer batteries before building your packs? No. I know that Tom did cycle them, I think, to test them. But then once I got them, I just put the packs together. I didn't even check them for capacity to see if they were like close. I know that they did give me slightly less than I thought the capacity was going to be in there. So somehow the BMSs are stepping in there and shutting down the pack. I think I was able to like remove like 900 watt hours, I think, instead of the 1.2 that it should be in that thing. But I did test it, and I ran that heater. I want to say like 40 minutes, 50 minutes, I think, on that. I charged it all the way up, and then I put it on there, and then until like it just completely shut off. So the safeties are working, right? And I wanted to test that and see if, and I ran it at full speed, like at 1500 watts. So that was interesting. So I thought you would need 2 of them. I would need about 25 cents per pair anyways. Ways to breed fireflies, then they will charge the batteries via solar. It was cheaper to buy finished solder I2C boards with the power bank layout in the factory and not to buy components. Oh, I see. That's crazy. Your 7S board kits use 1-inch spacers. Could you use 3/4 or 7/8 spacers for higher density between boards? Yes. So they actually don't use 1-inch. They're actually 25 millimeter, which is slightly different than 1-inch. They're not compatible. They're like 1-inch is a little bit bigger than the other ones. But if you could use, what are these? 7/8? I have a bag with the smaller ones. Let's see. Come on, where are you? Let me look for them. Let me find them. Here we go. 7/8. So they measure 7/8. This thing doesn't work. Don't you hate when your caliper just runs out of battery? It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So anyways, I ordered these so that you don't have any of the gaps, right? So you can totally get rid of the thing. And I built a little pack, and yeah, it worked. These are more expensive. That's the reason why I didn't decide to use them as as the the official one for the boards. So they're 22 millimeter. Yeah, 22 millimeter. It's about 7/8 of an inch, and that's what you will need if you don't want to have absolutely or don't want any gaps between the board holder and the next board. They work. Yeah, I want to order more of these so that I can build a pack that way. But definitely not going to include them in the kids because that just adds a ton of cost to the kids. So, it's not worth it, I think, for only if you just want to cram as much as possible in there, right? Nathan Berry says that he's got to go. He's got to hit the hay early morning. Good night. Thank you for joining us, Nathan. Yeah, I know it's late for a lot of you guys. It's 9:35 p.m. in California, but I know a lot of you guys are back east. And of course, there's a lot of you guys from all over the world, so some of you guys are just waking up while some of others have to go to bed. Yeah, good night. Thank you for joining us. These feeds are getting late early. It's 1:30 in Barbados. Yeah, I needed to try. I was trying to go a little bit earlier today, but I couldn't do it. By the time I finished doing those buttons and all those stuff, it was 8 o'clock. It almost seems like that's what it was. You're running out of batteries. No, I loaded up my camera this time. I got plenty of batteries. It's really good. So that's what's happening, guys. I got a few. I've been working on this thing for a long time and taking my time. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to like over there at EV West. I didn't finish that one because we were missing these guys, the little isolators, and though their cells don't have isolators and they're not wrapped, right? So we can't skip that step. Totally need them. So I had to come home and order a bunch of them, and then we're gonna go back there, and hopefully I'm gonna build another one of those boxes. And let me show you how those boxes come. Just I don't know, just if anybody's wondering. If you were to order the 75 board kit, which is enough to fill one of these boxes, right? Here's the box. Here's that box, and you can get it without the cover from Amazon or with the cover. The cover is almost the same as the box. I want to try and make a custom cover for 2 of them, so double the size, but that's gonna be in a future venture. Here we go. Yeah, so the 75 kit, 75 board kit comes in these 2 boxes here. So it's not a lot. It's just those 2 little boxes, and it will have, there's enough room in here to put the 6 of the BMS boards, and then put all that hardware in there. So yeah, I think that's gonna be really popular because that's the one that I'm gonna make a video, doing the entire thing. It's like getting the boards, opening up those boxes, soldering all the stuff, then building the little modules, drilling the holes on the boxes. That box doesn't have holes. You just need to drill a couple of the things. Oh yeah, I need to put those little things on the kit. I have to count how many of those little things to secure the boards to the edge of the thing. So I still have a little bit of work, to do that. But yeah, I'll throw all the stuff in there and then put it on there and then just connect. I mean, that's a 24 or 48 volt battery box, and that's the way to do it. These PCB kits are the BMS for the lithium-ion batteries. These PCB kits are the BMS. So there are both, right? There are battery PCB kits, which hold the batteries together and connect them all together. And then there are BMS boards. This is a BMS board that goes and takes that energy from those, from those battery boards, and then makes them go through BMS units, and then puts it out. It's basically, those are switches, and if anything goes wrong, then it just intervenes. And so that's what we're doing. Of course, that's not going to be the only way to connect these boards, right? There's, you're going to be able to use like balancing stuff like these Chinese ones, which I haven't tested. I haven't started playing with this one yet, but I want to do it. And so you might not want to skip these boards, right? You might just want to be able to use like a bigger one, sort of like that one that I'm testing here. The EV West has another like BMS that they use on all the electric cars, and it's compact and it's small and it's cool. The only thing that I don't like is the fact that I need a PC with Windows, right? And so that's how you can go through the settings and set it up. And so, I mean, it shouldn't be a big problem, but I think it is, I mean, like I myself don't have one. I don't want to touch a, PC, because I hate, windows. So it's a big deal. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only one. For techie people, for people that are, into that sort of stuff, it's not going to be a big deal. But people like me who I just, there's going to be a ton of people that are just like, no, I don't. What do you mean you need a serial window and the thing? And yeah, it's just, it's got to be like a standalone system where you can have a little menu, you can go through all the settings and change them and stuff, right? Like, that's when it's a product that it's like anyone can use without having any training, without having any special equipment. And I know, a PC shouldn't be considered specialized equipment, but it is. I don't have one. I don't want to use one. Actually, I do have one, but I don't like using it. Let's see here. Hey, who's that? That's Kevin. He just sent me thing. Too bad customs cost and taxes adds to the cost to ship to Belgium. I would love to test your PCB platform. Did you already ship to Belgium? I did. I have shipped to Belgium. Of course, I've shipped like, I don't know, something like 4 or 5 of these boards, and they cost a few dollars to ship them, right? So on those, I don't know. We can do the test and see how. Those are prepaid, but I don't know if these are prepaid. Those are flat rate, not prepaid. Flat rate, but only within the United States. I think international, they cost more, and I don't know how much those weight yet. So I would have to do some research and find out how much it would cost. Which I'm sure I'm gonna get orders from overseas, and then I'll be able to like check, and then if it's way too much, I guess I'm gonna be like, hey, I can't ship this. It's way too much. But if it's not that much more or whatever than what I put on the shipping there for the flat rate, I'll just ship them. So I just wrote an article, says Take Ride 23 on Steemit.com about what you're doing with these kids. Oh, wow. Can you post a link? So we can go and check it out? And people can go and upload it and stuff. We can get people to go check it out. And Android app. Yes. Do something like that. Do don't be a hater, get the job done. Why can't you use this packs for an EV use? Is it because of the plastic holders? Yeah, so there's a ton of reasons why I don't recommend them for EV use. Mostly because they're untested, right? If you think about a car, it's a pretty hazardous environment. I mean, it's pretty harsh, There's a lot of vibrations, going down the road and stuff. So those are just, held in with pressure of the cells. So, they're heavy. You vibrate them. How long are they going to stay there before they fall out of the thing, Of course, you could do things to mitigate them, like falling off. Like, if the next board's right there, then there's nowhere for the cell to go. That's one way. But another issue is the fact that they are, look at that box, right? And we measured it. It was, I think it was like 80 pounds once it's loaded up with cells. And it's about 6.2 kilowatt hours. And so 500 and something, right, cells. So you compare that to the Tesla module, for example, which is 444 cells. So it's just a few cells less. And the size comparison is so small, weight and size, right? So when you're trying to do a car, you're limited by the space that you're going to have in there. So you want to have the most compact battery that you want. So that's another reason why these are not efficient when it comes in, in size or weight, because all of that, these are made with fiberglass boards, right? So they're heavy. Once you start adding, you put like 80 of those in a box, they're heavy, and so they're heavy and big. So yeah, there's not a lot of, you don't have the energy density that you want, and you want the best energy density on a car. and they're untested as to far what the vibrations are going to treat it. Plus, the other thing is usually AV batteries operate somewhere around the 4 to 5C region, right? So they get a harsher life, the cells, and of course these can't handle that, right? Because they get really hot at 5 amps. So if you get a 3 amp hour cell, then you're gonna want about 15, at the very least 15 amps out of it. So these will just be melting all of the time. So yeah, 1C system doesn't work on an EV car. You gotta have like a giant battery system. Yeah, it just doesn't add up. Doesn't meet any of the criteria. So there's a few reasons why. Flat rate is good if they are heavy boxes. You need to do an EC cost broadcast. EC cost broadcast. What about an RPI 3 built in a solar generator with 7-inch HMI touchscreen for simple configuration? Yeah, develop it so I can use it. Or a central time one, good for everyone. Check out these. Oh, there we go. So here it is. He did the link for the Steemit thing. Weekly tech article. DIY use lithium ion 18650 power walls, bringing the cost of energy storage down. By the way, talking about cost, kind of did the test. So I did a cost analysis for this system right now, and right now obviously is the most expensive that it's going to be, because I'm ordering parts and they are the most expensive because I'm ordering small batches, right? I mean, I haven't really invested a lot of money. But let's say that this gets rolling and like a lot of people start buying this, like seriously a lot of like large numbers, then I will be able to go in like China and be like, we don't want to pay 10 cents for these holders. We want to pay, 5 cents, then we can push the buying, we increase our buying power, so then we can bring the prices down. That means that the cost of the components will go down to the point where they can go down from here on, right? This is the price at like kind of like small quantities, almost like not wholesale. This is retail, almost like retail prices. And right now it comes out to be about $400 a kilowatt hour once it's all set up in a box like that with the cables and everything. Where the Tesla Powerwall comes in around 577. But then we kind of went into Tesla, and then we did like a calculation, like today, that was yesterday, a few days ago or whatever, and then it came out to more like closely to like $530, I think. It was like $530 a kilowatt hour plus installation, right? So that's we're about $100 less, but you'd have to put it together, right? So I don't know if it's worth $100 for you to put it together, unless you need it now and you can't get it. So power walls are not exactly they're not installing them every day. It's not like you can order it today and then get it tomorrow kind of thing, right? So those are the incentives that you have to build a DIY Powerwall using my system. It costs a little bit less, but it's more work, but you can get it now. You can like order it, and then you can order it now. Like I have all the links up there, so you can actually order it from China. You wait about a month for all the parts to come in, and then you can put it together. Where Tesla, you can order it now, and then you can wait 6 months to a year. I know someone that's been waiting for 2 years for their Powerwalls. So those are the incentives. But as time goes by, it's only going to get cheaper. Our system's going to get cheaper, right? And so we might increase that gap between a DIY price and the just buy it Tesla Powerwall price. And of course, that's not the only two options. Between there's a few more, right? You could also buy batteries like Tesla modules, for example, and then design a system over that and use them. That also could be a little bit cheaper than the Tesla Powerwalls. Uh, Maybe even cheaper than mine. Yeah, well, yeah, because I think you can buy Tesla modules right now for like $350 a kilowatt hour, right? It's like $1,200 for a 5 kilowatt module. Does that work out like that? Let's see. 1,200, right? That's the going rate. Then you divide that by 5.3. 226. Yeah, but you usually don't get like 5 kilowatt. There's a good video today that came out by Will Prowse. He actually has a Model S module, and he's saying that he loved it because it's easy to install and the thing. But he's saying that he can only use about 70% of that battery because he's using it with legacy equipment, that needs 24 volts. So if you look at that, then it's not really, 5.3. It's more like 4 kilowatt or something, right? And so $1,200 divided by like 4 kilowatt hours. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, that's how you can get them cheaper. If you use like Tesla modules, for example. You'll have to design a system, I guess, because there's not like an easy system set like this one. The thing is that eventually, once I get done, then it'll have like instructions and stuff, and there's gonna be hopefully a bunch of people building. So there's gonna be kind of a community, and hopefully that's what it turns out to be. So those are kind of the benefits as opposed to doing some other stuff. You can do it cheaper. There's other ways of doing it cheaper. You can get a bunch of the Fiat batteries. Those are really cheap. It's like $100, $150 a kilowatt hour. But then you'll have to design a system, and it comes in weird voltages and groupings of batteries. You might have to cut some apart so you can move some cells and do some welding on those things. Yeah, so there's ways, but there's more work where this is kind of standardized, right? Have you ever thought about using supercapacitors? No, actually, no, I never did. I just got some. I'm going to play with them just because now they're Tesla capacitors. The Maxwell capacitors are now owned by Tesla, right? So, yeah, I can't pass out the opportunity to do some to do some video where where it can get a lot of views because of just the whole promotional thing that Tesla brings to any of this tech. Have you ever thought about yeah, so I read that. Do you still have those LiPo4s for sale? No, those have been a long time. We do have lithium iron phosphate, but they're not in the big prismatic things. They're like in the 26650s. And if you look in the last video that I made, or one that I made a couple of weeks ago, you can still, there's links there where you can find them. If you're serious, I would like to collaborate on controls, HMI, and SCIDA systems for solar power walls and generators. Wow. Yeah, let's do it. Send me an email so we can, so you can tell me more about your ideas. The Energis Tiny BMS has to be programmed with a PC. They are working on an iPhone out, but might be a while. The Energis Tiny BMS. Is this what I'm looking at here? Is this the Energy BMS? Or why are you saying? Is that because you might be talking about this? Let's see. Oh yeah, the Energis Tiny BMS. Okay, now I know. I mean, I did kind of know because it has a USB thing here, right? That I plugged in there. I'll take a look at it though. Yeah, it's a thing. That it's a thing that we need to. It's a hurdle that we have to get past, because in order for the regular person to use it and stuff and set it up, I think it's a big one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I really hate PCs and Windows, and whenever I have to use one, it's a bigger deal maybe than to most people or to a lot of people, right? But I think having a standalone system that you can just have like a little thing and a little menu and a GUI, and you can just run through the set of like things. So that's where that like Electrodocus system, kills it, right? Because that thing has a little screen and like little capacitive touch like buttons, and all the instruction, the manual is inside this thing. You can go through the little instructions and read them there and set them, and it's got the diagrams on how to connect the batteries. Everything is in that little device, right? And so that's the level of where we need to be with these systems to set them up. Like that's the goal, right? So that's where we want to be. Does Tom still have a lot of cells? If he does, can you get him to update his site? So he does have a lot of cells. I don't really know what I think he's concentrating right now on certain ones. But I don't know which ones you're looking for that are not there. I think maybe like the tested ones. So testing takes a long time, and I know they sell quickly, so it's not like he doesn't have. It's just that like they're always sold out kind of thing. And then I'm always pushing people to his site now, so there's a lot of traffic that goes through there. So I think that's where we're at. I think right now, right? Like one, he's concentrating on the lithium iron phosphate because those are like the ones we're trying to doing a push to just get them out. It's like there's pallets, X amount of pallets or whatever, and he's testing them and he's getting them out. And I do a video and it gets a lot of views and stuff, and then so there's a lot of traffic there. So yeah, he takes personnel from all the other ones off. So we do kind of have to do them in batches, and I know that's how he's operating right now. But I think the 18650s are a thing that is always, unless you have like one specific one that is not for sale right now. Yeah, email him. I think sometimes he goes out of his way to like get people what they need, kind of thing. Can you still modify inverter to use different voltage range? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never done it, and I've never seen a lot of people do it with an inverter that's already set up, right? But I know there's some Chinese manufacturers that will set your parameters to whatever you want. They'll make an inverter work, do whatever. And I know that there are some people that actually order some inverters custom made to use on 6S, so particularly to use them with the Model S module. So it's possible to do it. You just have to find the right people in China. And make sure that their inverters are like good and not super crappy that won't last long or whatever. It's good. It's great to see you grow from 1 year ago until now. Really? I feel like I've been stuck here. Like I feel like in some ways I was in a better place a year ago. I wonder. Yeah, it's interesting to see. Sometimes I upload a video, for example, and I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. In my eyes, it sucked. I didn't do a good job. I didn't, I'm not advancing in the video department kind of thing. And then like people will be like, oh my God, this is your best video ever. And I'm like, it is? Like, how did you come up with that? Like, I don't get it. Maybe my criteria is like different. It's weird. So it's weird for you to say something like that because, yeah, I don't know. It's weird to judge oneself, right? I'm inside of my reality. I can't really step out of it too much. I like the DIY because it's open source. There you go. Yeah, it's open source. So whatever is going to happen to it, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be by the community, right? Like I mean, I'm just kind of spearheading this, but I'm really not the right person to be spearheading this battery. Like, I have very little knowledge, like of electronics, for example, right? Someone's like, "Why are you gonna use a? You should put like an Arduino there to do a bunch of like cool stuff, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, except I don't code, so it's like it's a huge thing for me, you know. Like, I can't jump in there. I could hire someone and do it, right? But I'm kind of doing this. This is not really to make money. I'm trying to like not invest money on it because it's not making me money. And I could make money doing these things, but it's almost like not my aim, right? I'm not. My purpose here is not to make a battery, manufacture and sell it to a bunch of you guys so I can become rich or make money. That's not it. It's just like a thing that it kind of came out of necessity. It's kind of a thing that just kind of an accident. It happened. Just because we need it, right? And because I think it could help a lot of people. So that's why we're doing it. But that's why it's open source. That's why I'm making all the things available so that you guys can do it. And you can, do it the cheapest way, without the middleman or whatever. I'd still make a tiny little bit in commissions if you buy the parts through the links and all this stuff. And, it just kind of pays for the time that I'm kind of doing this thing and that I'm not making videos, right? Like, yeah, I could be constrained making more videos instead of more of these projects. Because these projects take a long time. So that's the balancing act that I have to do. It's like, I love making videos, but I also like designing stuff and doing these projects. And I can't do both at the same time. So I have to, like, do the project for a little bit and then get into the videos for a little bit and then do projects a little bit and then do the videos. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how long I will be able to do that for. Again, like, I have like certain goals that I want to do, but they're like kind of rough, right? I don't know. I'm just enjoying the ride at this moment. At this point. How do you feel about resetting the lithium ion CID? I mean, you can do it. It's just, you can, I worry for the unknown, like what set it up. There was a reason why that cell got so hot that CID got set, right? They set it off. So, was it the cell? Was it, did they overcharge it? So I don't know, right? I don't know if that cell is more prone to repeat that event, right? And if the second time that it happens, if the CID is no longer there, then that makes that cell much more dangerous, right? So the reason why I like 18650s is because they have so many layers of safety built in. The canisters are kind of tough. They have valves to release pressure. They have the CID that will, trigger if it's too hot, and then we set fuses on the outside, right? With my PCBs, they're fused. There are multiple fuses on every cell. There's on every connection that is going to every cell, right? So they are really safe. They're really the safest batteries out there that exist. And so if you undo the CID, then there's one level that you remove from it, and then not really knowing why that is, right? So that's the only reason that I would say no, don't do it unless it's like a non-critical thing that you're gonna use it, right? And then you can, for like an e-bike or a skateboard or something, where if the cell catches fire, you could just get off of it and push it off to the curb or whatever. Like, I'd say do it. Who cares? But like for a big power wall, it's a different thing. It's a big giant battery that you can't take off your wall, So if it catches fire, then it's a much more bigger liability kind of thing. I did the open source concept. This is how the spaceship gets built. Yeah, that's true. Some play guitar for the enjoyment. There you go. You're educating people about how to do stuff. It's a big deal, man. Thank you for what you're doing. Yeah, so that's a thing that I do value. right? Like I've been talking to my YouTube agent because now I have an agent, and she was talking about like what is the purpose of the channel and stuff, and I'm like, I really like empowering people. Like I get to hear from people all the time, like, no, you shouldn't do that because that's not the right way to do it. And I'm like, almost nothing that I do is the right way to do it. Like, I'm as far as you can be for doing things the right way, but it doesn't mean that you can't do things, right? Like, I'm proof that you can do things, you can hack things, you can use things that are not designed for one way and do them another way. Like, yeah, and there's risk involved in the whole thing, but I mean, it's a whole risky venture. And I think you can swing that pendulum too far, and I think society, especially here in the States, I think that pendulum's usually swung too far to the safe thing. Like, no, you can't set up a business without the right education. You can't embark on a business without going to college and learning how to set up a business. You're like, oh yeah, you could just, trial and error your way through things. What are you talking about? Like, trial and error your way through life. Like, that's what I'm doing, right? And I think to a lot of people, it just seems like this is not a way to live life. And not to me, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fun. You just do stuff and learn. It's real life lessons. It's not textbook lessons, but it's real life lessons. And I think that's a thing that I love about, hearing from people that think the same, or either like wake up to the fact that you're like, oh my God, you can totally do that. Yes, why not? These guys are doing it. These guys are building stuff, ignoring the fact that there are rules and regulations and stuff that, that guide or the thing that everything, it's like people just, I have a feeling that people like to live the sanitized life, and things are not like that. And so that's a thing that I appreciate. And I think it empowers people. And I think it's a message that it's useful, I think, right? It's like, I'm not like advocating like recklessness or, or to do stuff that's unsafe or dangerous or something, right? It's just like, no, you should not be afraid to do things the wrong way. And so I think that's very interesting and really important. And so that's one of the things that I do feel that's important of the work that I do. More so than, I'm gonna teach you how to do the batteries or whatever. It's like it's a whole outlook in life. Because I think that's universal, right? Like this battery things might end up tomorrow. Everybody's a battery, no one cares. At one point things go in and out of like, style, right? Like whatever. People are talking about afros in the 70s, but now who's talking about them? Well, I'm sure there's a group of people, right? But it generally in society they're not a thing, right? But I think life hacks or outlooks or philosophy of life, I think that's a thing that's always kind of general, and so that's a good thing that I feel like I have to contribute. I mean, I have no expertise in any of this stuff other than the one that I've trial and error my way through, right? But I do have my point of view on life, and I think if you find that, you might find that interesting, and I think a lot of people kind of do, and so that's a thing that can you use Electrodaca's SBMS 120 with the Tesla Model S battery module? So no, that's the bad. Okay, you not out of the bag, not out of the box, because. Or wait a minute, can you? No, you can. Yeah. No, you totally can. Yeah. I was thinking you couldn't because it's not a 7S, but it's completely programmable. You can use anywhere from 3S to 8S. And the 8S obviously makes more sense so if you're using lithium iron phosphate. Yeah, you could totally do it. I think. I have to look more into the spec sheet. No, into the manual. But As far as I know, you can. The only thing that I'm unsure is because it doesn't have a DC to DC inside of it, right? So it uses the solar panels nominal voltage to kind of charge the 7S or 8S lithium iron phosphate cells. So there's not a lot of conversion there. So if you put a 6S and the 60 cell panels might have a higher voltage than the 6S, so it might not be as efficient, right? But I think you could use it. I just think it wouldn't be like optimal. The other thing is, where people are not thinking about is that you could always break one module, or you can buy like batteries. I gotta have Michael put those batteries for sale because he's got a lot of them. The Model S batteries cells, where they're loose. If you make a 1S 74P module, then you can connect that at the end of a Tesla module, and then now that becomes a 7S module, right? 6S in the original module, and then 1S module outside of it. But then you can connect, to the inverter and your loads and your chargers and stuff. It sees the 7S. So all of a sudden the voltage works, right? And so because now there's the raw cells are accessible, because a lot of the modules have to be torn apart because they're either damaged in in the accident, or half of them were like under submerged water, if you get them from a pack that was flooded or whatever. So that means like these guys, when they're taking, they're like, it's not a pristine module, so they have to tear it apart and then take the cells. They'll take the ones that are rusted, they take them out, but then the clean cells, then they keep them, they put them in a bin, and now the bins are getting big. There's a ton of them. And so it's like, what do we do with these cells? And so I'm like, well, let's build 1S module so that you can use all these with legacy equipment, with 24 volt equipment, or 48. If you build two of those modules, then you can, and then two of the 1S modules, then you have 14S, and you can use those on 48 volt equipment. When it comes to charger for e-bike battery, 36 or 12 or 48 volt, how do you buy the thing where you can buy it all universal and for everything? Well, no, I think you can buy it for everything. You'll have to like pick one, right? 36 is very common. 48, I think, is like kind of a hack. Yeah. The Battleborn batteries look interesting. I keep hearing about those. As far as I know, they're just lithium iron phosphate with a little BMS, right? Something like this, I guess. Look, this BMS right here is capable of doing 100 amps, supposedly. I mean, it does have a lot of MOSFETs. So yeah, you can put some lithium iron phosphate, which is, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get a little box. I'm gonna put those P cells, because this can output a ton of power. I have 20 of them, and I'm gonna put this little BMS there, and then I'll have a battery that's really small that it will be able to give me 100 amps. That's the next project I'm gonna build. Let's do it. Oh, Will Pros is there. Look at that. He's in the house. So cool. I got this live stream. What do you think about prismatic cells lately? Seems like the EV guys have phased them out because the weight, but man, for solar they're made. Yeah. The problem with those is that the quality issue is so bad with them. I mean, we experienced that back, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when we started using them in EVs. You would get 100 cells, and out of those, there was like 5 of them that were like way off. They were like this. They were like degrading way quicker than the rest of them. And you're like, wow, that's only 100 cells. That's like the percentage is really high. Because they're made in low production numbers, right? They're not being made in the millions like the 18650s. So they're cool. I think if you have some that already were in service, and then you can test them, and they had similar life, and you can test that they're still like similar capacity, then that means those are like cells that were not, that they're good, And yeah, Yeah, people are taking them off the cars because the energy density is so low on those things, and the weight, they're so heavy compared to the new stuff. Yeah, for, you know, Tom, batteryhookups.com had a ton of them. I mean, he had pallets and pallets of them. But I could never even make a video about them because they were selling out so quickly, right? And he couldn't test them fast enough. They're basically whatever he's testing every day, they're sold out. And so basically at this point, they're all sold out. And I was never able to promote them because they didn't need to. And I know he's going to keep getting more and more and stuff. But, Will, by the way, there was a question that I couldn't really answer. And I told my audience about you. I said, I know this YouTuber that has much more experience about solar panels. So they asked me, so I can't remember the question, but it's something about solar panels, right? Like, how much can you get where you're at, like what kind of efficiency and other stuff. And I thought, I can't answer that because I have weird panels, and I'm not like totally geeking out on what my panels are producing. I know I can go and check in the meter and see how much they're produced up till now, but I don't know, I'm not logging the production of those. And so I couldn't really say much, right? But you probably have way more ability to do that because, well, you use solar panels more. You're off grid, right? I think you have experience. I'm not off grid. I'm still connected. I'm using panels and I'm using batteries all the time and stuff, but I don't 100% depend on them, so I just can't answer that question. But yeah, maybe we can do a video about that. Maybe we can look at some of those questions that you can answer that I can, and then have you on my channel kind of thing, and then do the thing. Let's see. I was thinking about making 7-cell module by stacking them with an 8-inch rubber spacer that has fusible wire folded around, and putting them in a tube. What size fusible wire? Well, depends what cells you're going to be using and what kind of load and what kind of battery you're going to build. But, when I built the one for my bus just to test it out, it was 150 cells, all in parallel. And I was using, just regular resistor legs. And they would burn at 6 amps. And that was good enough because these cells were not like, power cells. They were energy cells that were weak because they were kind of old. And so 6 amps was great. 6 amps was way more than they needed to be if every cell, 150, what is that? So 150 times 6. So that module was capable of 900 amps, even though my EV system could only, at that point, only pull and load this module with 650 amps, right? At a hard acceleration, at max, at peak. So I was well above the maximum that I could do. So yeah, and those, I could have gone with a little fuse wire that would burn like at 4 amps, right? I could, go to 4 amps and I'd still be fine. 4 times 150. Well, 4 amps would be close. 5 amps times 150. Yeah, it'd be 750. So it would give me 150 amps of buffer, of like headroom or whatever. Yeah, so that's what you have to do. You have to look at your load, to look at your battery size, amount of cells, and then you can see how much each cell would provide, and then that's how you can size your fuse wires. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. It's nice to build your own stuff and learn from it. Yeah, that's invaluable, I think. Especially, if you're gonna be depending on it, right? It's like it's so easy to buy stuff, but then if you don't know how it works, the internals, then you're at the mercy of that equipment. When it goes out, you're like, now I have to buy another one or have it someone else repaired or whatever, right? And if you kind of are out there, like, yeah, I mean, going off grid is it's a huge thing. You depend on that. I've never depended on any of this equipment like at that level. You know, it's a big experiment for me, right? It's like if it fails, it fails. Big deal. I don't care. I'll go to sleep. Next morning, I'll wake up and play with it some more. Or, you know, maybe I'll forget all about it, jump into the next project, and weeks later come back and. But if you're depending on that, it's a weird thing. I don't have that. I don't know what that is like. Let's see. I made a battery out of love? What? Thank you for all you do for us. We appreciate it. Someone say it out loud. Thank you, LG Prep. I appreciate that. Curious, are there trace fuses on your 7S board? Yes, they are. And they actually burn kind of high, like somewhere around 12 amps. And I have video and a test that I did on those. Yeah, but they are there. So if anything happens, there's our triple fuse. My boards, every cell is triple fuse. Yeah. Once you see the diagram, you'll be able to see how they're triple fuse. Now, that said, there are some, there are some scenarios that could present where the fuses might not 100% work in keeping the battery safe. But then that's where the next level of protection will come in. Hopefully, one of the BMSs will step in and disconnect the battery pack. Now, if that fails, then I don't know. I mean, it's layers over layers of failures that have to happen before, one of these cells will go, Possible? Yes. Likely? Very unlikely, right? That so many levels of protections will fail. But it still can happen. So it's not 100% sure, You still have to kind of know what you're doing, and you still have to do a little bit of prep when you put these batteries in there. Can I use a 72-volt charger that came with my e-bike to charge 18650s? Yes, if you set them up in a 72-volt battery pack, you can totally do that. By the way, what is that? 72 volts nominal, right? 72 volts, so you divide that by 3.7 nominal. So it's 20 cell, 20S. So you have to build a 20S pack. Where can I find a video or the equipment you use to test your batteries? Go to mykit.com. See the link at the bottom of this video, kit.com/Jehu. And then I have kits, and I have a kit that has all my equipment that I use. Chargers, meters, you name it. I have it all listed up there so you can look at the stuff. If you see it on my video and if you're thinking like, oh, that's a cool piece of equipment, I wonder what it is, just go to that kit and you'll be able to find it in there. Collaborative videos, I'm totally down for that. Look at that. Will is in the house. Usually a 100 watt panel will produce 70 to 83 watts in full sunshine here in San Diego. Some outliers, but that's typical. There you go. See, I would know that. So you're doing 80%, 70 to 80% output capacity of your solar panels here in LA. There you go. Hopefully that person that asked me that question is still with us. 161 still with us right now. Man, it's late. 10:24. Jay Garcia and Will Prowse should do a joint live stream. Yes, we need to do it. I've been dreaming of doing like live streams with other people. I'm like, every time I go to the US, I'm like, I'm gonna sit this guy down and have him do. But it's like this is 3 hours or whatever, and Michael's like 100 miles an hour. He's like the phone. It's like you have to have your conversations with him like in in chunks because there's just so much happening over there. So it's almost like it's hard for that to happen, right? But yeah, we definitely have to do it with Will. By the way, Will, I totally forgot to call you. I was down there with Ben Sullins this last week. Yeah, and I guess it was so jam-packed what we were doing that I forgot. But I am gonna go down there again. Oh man, I don't know when. But I don't know when yet. But like in the next few weeks, we're gonna go down there again. I will have to remember to to have you come up so we can meet up and you can meet up those guys and, you know, kind of have like a YouTube reunion. Well, not a reunion because we haven't united before, but yeah, I don't know, whatever. We can do a collaborative stuff thing. There you go. He's down for the collaborative live stream. Bring your drums. Wait, who's got drums? Can I take the box of 100 18650s on an airplane within the USA or international? No. I think you're only allowed to take like 8 of them or something like that. Yeah, there's a certain amount. I mean, probably you can sneak them in somehow, but you know, I wouldn't try it. They have to be. I know I've had several in my backpack, like loose 18650s that I've traveled with, and I hadn't had a problem. And I definitely have packs that have them, right? Like, you know, I mean, these have them. And they usually never have a problem if it's a pack that's sealed like this. But if you have one of the ones that you put together, like sort of like this one, although even though this one seems like, yeah, sometimes they have problem with these type that you can load them, right? Like if you can open them, they'll be like, hey, no, that's too big. Oh yeah, look at that. This one. I loaded up some in here. Is this thing still alive? Oh man. Man, I killed so many batteries. I'll leave them like that. And then like it just died and then I never recharged it and now it's months later. Those cells are probably dead now. Oh well. You would think that I would know how to not kill batteries, but I kill so many batteries. So crazy. How much is a Tesla motor in Cali? I mean, if you want it working, like hacked, reflash with like custom software, so you can just install it in another car and run it, it's only like $12,000. But from a junkyard, I think you can probably get it for a few thousand, $3,000-$4,000. Of course, that's if you're gonna have to beat some of these other guys that are buying them, like EV West. They're just buying all those motors because now we have a use for them. So obviously the Model 3s are going to be a lot easier because there's going to be so many more of those, right? So there's an FAA page on transporting batteries. Try Googling the FAA. Yeah. Imagine a VW bus with a Tesla motor. I can't imagine that. We're actually working on that right now. And my next motor in the Samba might be a Tesla motor. It would eliminate a lot of trouble. Cause yeah, the transmission sucks on the BWs. I'm kind of tired of messing around with that transmission. It's always leaking oil. It's always like, let's see. It's almost 12:30 here in Panama City, Florida. Oh yeah, man. You guys in the East Coast. Hi Jake, I bought some battery from Battery Hookups. Was thinking of using them for a Powerwall. Battery I bought is the SPIM 08 HP 3.7 volts 8 amp hour pouch cells, LiPo batteries. Yeah, I have some of those right here. Right here. Yeah, I mean, these are not particularly well suited for Powerwalls, but you could totally use them. I mean, you'll have to, if you need a way to put them together, if you don't know how to assemble them into battery packs, look at those videos that I made with the thing there. I have one specifically made just going through the process of putting those together with those little eyelet things, right? So yeah, you should look into that. There's obviously no problem using them. It's just, you know, they're power cells. So you got to be careful because if you're going to make a big power wall using those and you're connecting a lot of them in parallel, yeah, that could be scary, you know. I would do it like that, like how I did it, where you have a 7-cell series and then you put a little BMS, right? That it's like, rated at 20 amps. Because then you throttle that to 20 amps. I mean, if you're going to be using a lot of them, the combined output of all the little 20 amp packs is going to give you enough power to run the thing. But it's not going to be too much. So if you short out a thing, it's not going to be thousands of amps. It's going to be like maybe hundreds of amps, right? Because they can get scary when you're talking about these packs that can do tons and tons of power. So yeah, I would just keep an eye on that. All right, Aaron 3, Tyree. Thank you for $10, man. Other than your experiments, if you were put in a position where you had to depend on a battery bank right now, would you build with a P-cell LiPo4 or PCB boards and 18650s with a P-cell LiPo4? Well, no, I would do the PCB thing, because I can put them. Well, yeah, I just like that technology so much better, and I have so many cells that I would just put them together. I have them already. I wouldn't have to buy them. Where the other ones I would have to get them, right? I don't have the LiPo4s, in large quantities, and I could get them. There's no big deal. I mean, if that was the only thing that's available, yeah, I'd totally use them. No big deal, right? I think I like 18650s more. Lithium coupled oxide, I like the higher energy density, even though they're much more, you have to be more careful with them. Even though they die quicker, yeah, they're much more finicky chemistry than the LiPo4. By the way, I've used LiPo4 for a long time. I had them in my car for years. Yeah, it was a different curve, discharge curve. There's, very specific things that I remember about that chemistry. And then when I changed to 18650s, it was like, oh, these ones are different. They give you all the power kind of at first, and then at the end they kind of, they wobble out a little bit more, and then those push the power, it's not the same. There's tiny little differences that you will notice when you use a battery every day. And I remember going like, man, these 18650s are a lot better. Like, they're a lot better. So I just, like, the lithium iron phosphate just like sags like a lot at the beginning of the cycle for some reason, and then they go into their nominal voltage, right? Where the 18650s or the lithium coupled oxide chemistry, it's more linear. It just stays like higher. When you start discharging it, the voltage is higher a little bit longer, and then eventually reaches the 3.7. But then it keeps going. So the S curve is a little bit less pronounced that with the lithium coupled oxide, the lithium iron phosphate. Those are like, it's a pronounced, like, voltage drops, then it flattens out, and then it drops too. So that's a thing, like, you have to keep an eye on that. I'm building a solar trailer for my e-bike. Does the BMS keep you from being able to charge while riding? Shouldn't. Your BMS is basically just a switch, and it should just turn off whenever the cells are too high or too low, or if it has a shunt and a temperature sensor, and if the battery is too hot, then it should probably disconnect. If the BMS is too hot, which means you're running it too hard, or if it sees the shunt, if it sees more power than it's supposed to, right? Depending on the type or how advanced your BMS it is. But no, it shouldn't. It should let you charge. I clobber batteries by not charging them too. There you go. What keeps happening to your focus? My camera is weird. It's just a GH4. It's not the best one in focus. and it kind of sucks. I do have the GH5, it's here, right? But that's the one that I kind of use daily, and the GH4 stays there, so that when I sit here to go live, I don't have to like, oh, where's the camera? Where's the cable? I just kind of leave it all set up. And so it's not the best camera. Now it's antiquated. Now it's the old one. And it's kind of beat up. That's actually really beat up. I mean, there's... So there you go. Yeah, using capacitors to replace car batteries, especially for vehicles rarely driven, might be a good way to go. Yeah, but they have to get way better, because the energy density is so low, and yeah, the weight is really, the gravimetric density is also really low or high. They're too heavy. Yeah, they're too heavy. All right, I think that's it. No more questions. So it's 10:30. I'd say we call it quits here. So 142. Thank you for staying till the very end. How long have we been on? 2 hours. Oh my God, it's so crazy that we do this every week, and you guys keep showing up and keep asking questions. Yeah, thank you for all your interest. Thank you for all the stuff. Thank you for all your support. A lot of you guys are watching the videos. A lot of you guys are commenting. A lot of you guys are joining my ever-growing Facebook group. That's, there's a lot of stuff happening over there. There's a lot of people building stuff. And if you're not a member over there, you should join over there. Other than that, I think you should stay tuned for some of my videos coming up. I'm taking way more time to build the videos, but hopefully they are going to pay off, because they're going to be good, hopefully. So the ones coming up should be pretty interesting. I have a few collaborations coming up with these other big YouTubers too. Yeah, so hopefully I'm getting better at doing videos. I don't feel like I am, but some of you guys keep saying that, so I'm glad to hear that, right? Maybe I shouldn't kick myself too much, because I'm not making too many. But, so I'm spending time doing this stuff. It's all for the same purpose or whatever, so it's good. Okay, good night, everyone. And, yeah, I'll just play some of these videos for those of you that haven't seen them before. I know there's a lot of people that join the channel. Every day, about 200 to 400 people join the channel. So some of you guys are here watching this live stream. So, thank you for joining, and welcome to our YouTube channel and our little community of battery things. So, all right. See you guys next week, or until the next video. Bye. So you want to build a DIY power wall. I'll show you how to do one. Using these as batteries and these as your inverter, you can build a small DIY power wall. Let's get going.
So around 2010, we started seeing the Tesla Roadster hype. And if you look at it just based on specifications, you're like, this power plant, we should be able to put this in other cars. We just kind of started a project, kind of like a technical exercise to see if we could actually build our own, kind of homebrew electric race car.
Some 100 kilometers south of the border, there exists a place.
This is what's known as La Bufadora. It's a place where the water comes out. It's a blowhole. And we sit around and watch the water come up here.
I think I'm gonna get wet.
Was La Bufadora all that it's cracked up to be? Or?
Yes.
Were you impressed?
I was splashed. Watch it, that big splash.
Yeah, I was like 7 years old last time.
I'm allergic to birds.
All right, so I just arrived in Manhattan. My allergies are killing me. You see, oh my God, I feel like crap. But it's early. A few other family members are here this time around, so I'm gonna go meet them. They're somewhere already exploring the city, so I gotta go get them. All right, we made it to Grand Central Station.
Let's talk about the EV West M3.
I'm Michael Breen with EV West, and 7 years ago we started our little electric car speed shop so we could help people make classic cars go faster. At the time we were looking around for venues, and there wasn't a lot available to electric cars, and we came across Pikes Peak, and they actually had a class. And we ended up building the car, purpose-built for Pikes Peak. We ran the race in 2012. We ended up setting a record for the fastest street-legal electric car to go up the hill.
Now the car that Michael is talking about is the famous M3.
342 horsepower and 850.4 pound-feet of torque.
A few years later, I saw it.
Today I'm gonna show you how to build this electric skateboard. As you know, electric skateboards are a thing now. They've been a thing for a while. There's the expensive ones, there's the cheap ones, and everything in between. But there's a new breed of electric skateboards. They're off-road. And you got a glimpse of one of them last time I was in New York. And I got to meet Vitaly, which runs the Portable Electric Vehicles channel on YouTube. He built himself this beast of an electric skateboard that supposedly does about 55 miles per hour, which is just insane. So I thought I would show you how I would build one on the cheap, using off the shelf parts to keep the build simple. So let's get started.
Guess I'm not into you that much.
lost our wheel right here.
This is a test of a Lidocala branded LGHG2 cell. According to the spec sheet, this cell can do a maximum of 20 amp continuous and shouldn't go above 75 degrees Celsius in temperature. And just like that, with that little crack, the cell is damaged beyond repair. At 15 amp load, the cell reached a maximum temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, at which point the CID was triggered, and now the battery is open circuit. So that's how you kill a fake LGHG2 branded Lidocala cells.
I saw a documentary on the building of the Twin Towers, and it turns out they're so close to the ocean, they needed to retain all that water. So they had to build these walls, and each one of those little things there are screws. They're just rods, steel rods that are going through the bedrock to hold that wall. And this is not the only, this is probably the last one because the building was right there. So this is a
I think those
last
are
one.
called anchor bolts.
Anchor bolts, yeah. And those, they call those walls slurry walls. Crystal's covered up like it was sandy.
I'm cold.
You ever wonder what people think about our electric conversions? See the reactions on this 70s Porsche 911.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Fuck yes. In a Porsche. Fuck yes.
Let's make a power wall.
Positive, positive.
Well, they're not super even, but they're okay.
Whoa, they are kind of all over the place. And just like that, we assembled a 1 kilowatt hour
battery pack, 24 volts, ready to be used. Alrighty. Alrighty, here we go. Look at it go. Vieron. Oh my god! So how much does this Powerwall cost? Let's do a rundown on the prices of all the components. First, we have the solar charge controller available for $38.99, the bidirectional meter at $29.99, non-interruptible power supply available for $30. The battery modules are $50 each. There's 10 of them, so it's $500 in total. The 32-inch metal box is $59.22. A fuse holder is $682. The battery management system, the long ones are $14 each, and the main unit is like $200, so it comes down to a total of $342. All these components come to a grand total of $1,008 US. You can find the links for all these parts on the description of this video. I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for future videos, all having to do with DIY renewable energy. So you want to build a DIY Powerwall. I'll